So Jason over at Blue Ox Models had a question for the modeling neighborhood, so to speak, and I had answered it in the comments more or less, or just made a brief comment, and some other people had made some videos, but usually in the comments below, there's a lot of interesting ideas and comments, and a lot of people are very similar. It seemed like, to me, the most common, I won't say answer, but thoughts about it, because everybody looks at it different. And I think most of us, to be honest, most of the modelers that are modeling right now that have channels and everything, we're all like 50 or more, 50 years old or older. So we've been building models a long time. Even if some of us stopped doing it, and then maybe within like the last year, let's say, we started doing it again, but it's something we still enjoy enough to start doing again. But in looking at it that way, I think a lot of us are really into it right now for just the enjoyment. We've all worked hard all our lives. Some of us are retired. We put up with 50 years or 60 years of stress, and now we're like, I just want to do my hobby. I don't want to be stressed out. I did all that, I had one of those high stress jobs. I did all that stuff. I just want to kick back and relax. Even if you're not retired, it's something you want to do. Anyway, a lot of people said, to get to the short of it, a lot of people are a little hesitant to put a model in a model show. The first thing is, when you want to go to a model show because you want to look at everybody else's models. Think of it that way. You want to see them up. Sure, you can see them on YouTube. You can see them in photographs. You can see them on any kind of social media. But that's not the same thing as seeing them up close. Not only that, if you see a model on a table and you see something you like, let's say it's the paint job or the wheels, a lot of times you can ask somebody and go, anybody know who this guy is? And they'll say, yeah, it's that guy over there across the room with the orange shirt. And you can go over there and ask him any questions you want to. And he'd be more than happy to answer your question. And a lot of times he'll probably walk back with you and show you exactly, and discuss what he did. You can get that one-on-one right then and there. There's a lot of benefits to going to a model show. There's also the dealer's room where you can find models you're not going to find anywhere else, period. Especially, things that were like one-offs, like cast resin cast cars and things like that from companies that are out of business. They're not made anymore. Whatever it is. So there's a lot of reasons that have nothing to do with actually entering a model in the contest. And there's lots of people that visit model shows that do not necessarily put models in the show because they just don't want to, and that's fine. But generally, I don't see any reason why not to. Because first of all, you're helping the club. It costs a lot of money. Now this goes back because I was a member of one club. We did a model show 7 years in a row. And then finally, after 7 years, everybody's like, you know what? We're burned out. We can't. It's a lot of work, and we just don't want to do it anymore. Which was fine. Everybody felt the same way, but they were successful shows, and they did take a lot of work, and you got to have a good team, and we did. Certain people did certain things very well, and hustled, and it got done, and we all helped each other, and it was very successful. But the thing is that you still want to. It still takes a lot of time and money and sweat and stress and everything else to put on a model show. And the best thing that you can do to support that is to enter a model or two, because they usually charge for that. Let's say they charge $10 and you can put up to 5 or 6 models in the show. I'm just making that up, but let's say it's that. So you give them $10, but that $10 goes a long way because they're putting on a show so that you can get access to the dealers You can get access to the other modelers that are there. You can hang out with your friends. You can go to lunch maybe or something like that together and hang out. And there's just so many aspects that are things that you cannot do sitting at home modeling by yourself. It turns a hobby that's a soul lonely type one person hobby. God forbid, as the old joke goes, they're doing it in their attic or they're doing it in their basement, and it's probably not much different than the gamers today. They're like, they live with their parents and they live in the basement at their parents' house and they're gaming, that's just their hobby. I wouldn't go that far with modelers because most of us probably own the house we live in. So even if we're in the basement. But, it seems like it's a soul hobby. But let me tell you, when you get 100 or 200 modelers in a room, oh man, you never want it to end. You could do this for a week. So don't be afraid to go to a show. If you got to drive, let me tell you something. The very first model show I ever went to was this was in the 80s. This way before the internet, social media, all that, way before that. I don't even think I knew one guy that built models. One guy, and he worked where I worked, and we actually worked at a Ford dealership. So we both built models, and that's how we got started on it. We both of us have built models. I built since I was 8, and he built since he was a young kid. But I mean, it's just like, now we have something in common. We're both building model cars. So, but the first show I went to was an IPMS show in Miami, Florida. That was the very first show I ever went to. And actually my wife went with me because neither one of us had ever been to a model show. So we wanted to check it out. And it was pretty cool. And I was like, wow, I didn't even know this existed. I didn't even know that these kind of models were here in the vendor area. I'd never seen nothing like that. I mean, sure, I've been to a hobby store. We used to have, several hobby stores back then locally. Nothing like that vendor room. That vendor room had stuff I'd never even seen of, heard of, never even knew existed. And like I say, this is way before the internet. I mean, the internet's always been around since the 60s, but not the public internet. But that was it. And then from then on, I went to other local shows. A lot of shows I actually went to 2 other IPMS Nationals later. So I've been to 3, but the other 2 were in Orlando, Florida. Those were super big events. If you could ever find a way to go to one of those events, it'll be like utopia because all the vendors are there. And when I say vendors, I mean vendors from the entire world. Vendors from Japan, vendors from Europe, vendors from South America or Canada or wherever they come from, wherever models are made, the actual manufacturer is there. And you can talk to the actual people that work for that company. It's just amazing. But that's how. But to go to those 2 shows, I hitched a ride with a friend in both cases. No, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. The first one I hitched a ride. I rode with a friend. The second one, I drove to my brother's house and we drove over there together because it was at Walt Disney World. It was at one of their hotels. And he did work for Disney and he had either a sticker on his tag or a sticker on his window which allowed us to park in right next to where the event was, whereas normal people couldn't get in there and park. He had to have that pass. So that was pretty cool. But I've been to those. But a lot of shows, other shows I've been to, I went with another friend. I went to Coco up in that area. Saw one up there that they still have. I think it was in Kissimmee. And then I've been to a show near Tampa. I rode with a friend. And I went to PAMSCON, which is sort of like in the middle of the state, more or less. And again, there was it was an IPMS club. There was one modeler going. He's like, I got 3 other seats. He had a pickup truck with 4 doors. He goes, I got 3 open seats if anybody wants to ride. And that's what we did. We put 4 of us in that truck and we rode up there. So if you have a problem getting to a show and you got a modeling buddy, see if you got somebody that, you can share a ride with or something. Even if you get, 2 or 4 modelers in a vehicle, if you pitch in for gas or something like that, whatever you got to do, that'll get you to the show. Even if you don't drive or you don't have a vehicle that can necessarily make the trip. So that's an option. So always keep that open. So I've been to all these model shows by luck. I mean, it just so happened that, I was able to get a ride and get the time off. And I had maybe, normally when I would go to a model show, I would take $100 cash because that's probably about all I could spare. And I would buy a model or 2. Sometimes I've been to shows and only buy 1 model. It just depends on what you're looking for. So to make this a little more focused here, what I'm saying is try to get to a show so that you can do it. And the reason I say take a model is I do have a few awards. None of these awards are things that I planned on getting. None of them are things that I thought I would get. I really don't care about awards. So I just like putting my model on the table. If you put your model on the table and you're standing there hanging out with your model, somebody's going to come by and go, man, look at the wheels on that. I wonder where you got those wheels. And guess what? You're standing right there. You can answer his question. You can go, I made those wheels, or I bought those wheels from someplace over in England, or something like that. And right away, you got a model buddy just like that. So people will, you think you don't have anything to offer because maybe you think your models are not good enough. But there's a lot of things, information in your head and help that you can offer, believe it or not. It's just the way it works. I would call these accidental awards, really, because it's funny the way they happen. I mean, a lot of them probably have a funny story, and some of them do. So I just can't remember all the models that won because they don't always tell you that. I'm going to show you this one first. This was a Pam Scon Award. You can see by my hand it's very small, but I put it in a big frame, makes it look good. This was a great show. I think it was the first or second show they ever did, and I thought it was a great show. Very nice people that ran it and everything like that. Never thought I'd get an award, and believe me, there was a lot of people there. There was a lot of awards, and it took a while to go through those awards. I mean, just because there were so many people there at that show. I think people were jonesing for a model show in that area so bad. I mean, the whole city, towns around the area, everybody went. But I was called up front and they handed me this award. And what I had done is I had built a roach coach out of probably a Fujimi or something, Honda step van or step wagon, and I just made it out of fun. I thought it'd be funny to make a roach coach, and that's what I did. And they awarded me this, and one gentleman had remarked, he goes, I don't care what I looked at, he goes, I couldn't get over that roach coach. That was the coolest thing I saw all day, to him, in his personal view. Because it was funny, just to look at it. And I'll pop a picture up of it here so that you can see what it looks like. I don't have the model anymore. But yeah, and I mean, that's how I won. You're like, how can you get an award for that? Because somebody liked it. I don't know why. Maybe he likes roach coaches. He just thought or he has a big sense of humor. He thought it was funny. So you don't know. You don't know how you're going to get an award. So that's how I got that one. This one here, this was I normally build cars. And I got this award for building a ship. And I don't know exactly what ship it was because I have not built very many ships in my life. but it was probably either a Jacques Cousteau, the Calypso, because I did build one of those one time, and I also built a Lindbergh destroyer that was about 3 feet long. And I made a base for it and put the ocean in it and everything, like, waves on it and stuff like that. So it's probably one of those too. Now, I'm not a shipbuilder, so I don't know how I could have won. But this says best ship. Now, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if it was the only ship. You know what I'm saying? It's possible. I don't know. I don't remember. But sometimes that happens. Sometimes you're going to enter your model in a class, and for whatever reason, there's no way to know. Nobody else, everybody's sitting at home going, my model's not good enough, and they don't bring a model, and your model is the only model in that class. You're going to get first place. That's just the way it's going to work. Now, a lot of people say, well, that don't really count. Well, I mean, you did the distance, you put the work in the model, you spent money on the model, you bought the model, you bought the paint, somebody didn't assemble it for you, you did all the work. So yeah, it does count, because you showed up and you supported the club and you won't put the model in there. For all the people that didn't bring a model, that maybe they had better models than you did, they didn't bring them. So that's on them, not you. Anyway, it's fun. So you get an award, you can shake somebody's hand and they'll hand it to you, and that's the way it goes. This award doesn't say what it's for. This one here, you can see this is for, it's third place in factory stock. Personally, I hate factory stock. It's the stupidest class that I could ever think of for a car. But some people like it, whatever. I don't know how I got third place. I don't know what kind of vehicle it was, because I don't build factory stock vehicles. I mean, the only thing I could think of is I built a Ford Lightning, and I built it to right. I had a Ford brochure, and I built it right to the way it was in the Ford brochure, because I like the trucks. And for many years, I tried to buy one, but I just could never find one at the right price, because I wanted to buy a real one. And I love those trucks even today. So, I brought a model, and somehow, even though I don't care if I win, and I'm not building a model for that, somehow I won third place. I don't know. I've built maybe 3 motorcycles in my whole life. And I was at a show, this is 1996, and I got best motorcycle. Now, I do remember the kit. It was like a 1/8 or 1/9 Revell Harley Davidson. I had painted it a metallic lime green. Not a dark lime, but like a yellow lime green. And it really came out nice. I really liked it. But somehow, I got best motorcycle. And again, I don't know if it was the only motorcycle in the class. I don't remember. But it's possible that happened. And I didn't intend for that to happen. If it did happen, that's just the way it happens. So, but I did say, it was a cool looking kit. And it did have a really nice paint job on it. So that could have been what steered the judges that way. In 1993, there was a World of Wheels show at a convention center. They had a model contest. The person putting on the model contest, I still know him today, and he still puts on model contests. I've known him since 1993. Actually, I might have known him before that. The World of Wheels is like, if you don't know what that is, that's like a giant car show that travels all across the country, more or less. They usually have a lot of TV cars, like they might have the Monkey Mobile or the Batmobile. This show had the Batmobile, the 66 Batmobile. I'm trying to think of some other movie cars they might have had at the same time, but I don't remember. But there were a lot of cars at that show. And I think that show actually, I don't know if it's this show or another show, because they did another show at the same place more than once. So one of those times I actually met Lou Ferrigno, the Hulk. and I shook his hand and talked to him for a minute. So that was cool. Not car related or model related. I got second place in the world of wheels. I had a resin 1966 Batmobile that I had got and built. Now this is way back in '93. And you can see that car. I have a video of it on my channel. So I remember the guy running it. Like I say, I know him, but I remember him telling me when he gave me the award, he goes, I had to run blockade for that car all day. He goes, everybody came by wanted to buy that car. Because back then, they just didn't exist. There were no model cars of that like that. It was 1/25th scale. So, but that's just a funny side thing there. But yeah, I mean, I thought that was like I think this might have been the very first award I ever got. And I didn't even know they gave awards. I don't think I knew that much about a model contest as far as, I probably didn't even know they were going to have awards. These are some other ones that don't tell you which class they are in. So, but you can see there's a third, a second. So you can see what's going on here. It's like usually, always a bridesmaid, never a bride. So I probably don't get first place. It's probably not likely. not for my build. But I'm happy if I get second or third, whatever. I didn't expect to get anything anyway. So it does show that, obviously if I'm third place, there were at least 2 cars that were better than mine. But there might have been 10, 15 cars in that class. So out of those, I got a third. You got to look at it that way. So don't get discouraged. Don't even think about the awards, really. But if you do it, and you do enough shows, now and then, you're going to get an award. It's just going to happen. I like these medallion awards. Now, this is our local, Flight 19 is the local club, and they've been doing models. I've been going to their model shows since probably the 90s. And they've had them in many different locations all over South Florida. That's a third place. Again, this one's a second place. See, always a bridesmaid. This one is, it does not say. That's a third place. Third place. These are really cool. And this one is, they don't have the date on them though. But I'm going to say that's probably a bronze, and this is probably what's below a bronze, because it's certainly not gold. These actually had ribbons on them that, got old, and the material got kind of funky over the years, so I took the material off of them. So then I have this award here. And I want to say, I think I got this for my Porsche 959, which is on my channel. I really like that Porsche. I worked hard to do the best I could with that car, but it did not win first place. This does not say on here what it is, but I'm 100% sure the car won second or third place. But again, there was another car there, and I think it was a Mustang. I think he won first place because it was gorgeous. It was, this is probably box stock or something like that, or it could have been factory stock. I don't know, because the Porsche I built right out of the box. I didn't modify anything on it, but it didn't have a factory color or anything like that. So again, there's a video on that finished build you can see on my channel. I'll put a link below. But yeah, so what can I say? That's the way it works. So this one's kind of funny too. So I got this award. It says Best Theme Star Cars. Okay. They had one of the classes in the contest was for Hollywood, movie cars. Everything, Batmobile or Back to the Future or the Monkees or, anything like that. That was related to TV or movies. Now they also had a class that was miscellaneous, and this club that put it on, they had a miscellaneous class. So I took my Space 1999 Eagle. There's a video of that in my channel too as well. It's 22 inches long, nearly 2 feet. It's pretty big. But since it was miscellaneous, I took it because I didn't think anybody else was going to have that. And it was a cool model. I really liked the model. And there was somebody else, I think somebody else that I had talked to had wanted to see it. So I took it. And they ended up giving me this award for best theme because nobody brought a car model of any kind to put in the Star Cars class. And they're like, well, the model that you have in the miscellaneous class is from television. So it's basically fits this theme. It's just not a car. So they gave this award to me because there was nobody else to give it to. I mean, they paid for this award and it's a nice award. So rather than do whatever, they gave it to me. So that's how I got it. Because I took something that wasn't really in this class. I couldn't put it in this class technically because it wasn't a car. It was a sci-fi model. So again, this is one of those funny times when you get an award and you just, things happen. They were really good people, and they thought that's the only fair thing to do. And they had the award. They wanted to give it to somebody. They're like, what are we going to do? Take it home and put it in a box? And it has the thing says 16th annual, so they couldn't give it away the next year. They couldn't hold it for a year. Well, we'll just use it in the next model show next year. They couldn't do that because it says 16th annual on it. So I'm like, hey, I'll take it. I'm not proud. Here's a trophy. This is third place for a commercial vehicle. I have no idea what that was for. This was actually at a real car show. There was a local car show. It was done by the Sun State Classic Chevys. So it was a Chevrolet Classic Car Club. And they would do real car shows where, I'm sure most modelers, especially if you're a car person, you've been to those, people hang out, they sit on a chair next to their car and show it off, and you get to see, you could talk to them about their car, and you could just see some pretty cool cars that once in a while get out of the garage. They had a contest at that thing, and I brought a couple models, and I won first place somehow, and I don't remember what the model was. See, I'm not paying attention because I never expect to win anything. So long story short, this is not about showing off the awards I have. This is about explaining that you should take a model or two just to support the club, if nothing else. But there's nothing wrong with you winning an award. I don't care if it's accidental or whatever, because like I said, you built the model. You put the work into it. And if nobody else shows up and they don't put any models on the table, that's not your fault. They're sitting at home going, well, I don't have anything good enough. But you stepped up to the plate. You brought something, and you know what? This is the best model. Even if there's 3 crappy models in the same class, okay? Not saying your models are crappy. But let's say there's, your models, you're like, it's okay. It's fair. I can get away with it. And there's 2 glue bombs next to it. I mean, you're going to win. It's going to happen. So, or if you want to bring your glue bombs, you can do that too. That's up to you. I don't really, obviously when you go to a model show, you want to bring what you feel is probably the best models that you have built, or even if you bring something unique, if you have a model that you've built that's been out of production or it was only produced once, and it's extremely rare, but you want people to see it, and that's going to create interest in your model. Even if you never win an award, there's going to be a lot of people that go, I've never seen that model before. That is a cool model. Where did that guy get that? I never seen that before. There are people that build models like that. They don't necessarily win awards, but they want to have something different. Now with 3D printing, you're seeing models on the tables that technically don't exist. They're just a 3D file that somebody printed, and they exist as a 3D file, but somebody printed it, put it together, painted it, detailed it out, things like that, and made a model out of it to show. So I don't want anybody, basically this video is about, I don't think anybody should be discouraged and feel that they cannot take their model to a show. I just don't think that, you work hard on your models. I don't care if it's super great or average like mine or not average. I mean, whatever you think. But if you bring it, I can guarantee you somebody will be interested in something on it that you did, because everybody does something different. And there will be something on that car that somebody goes, I wish I did that on my model. I don't know how you did that. So, and you'll be there to help them. And believe me, when you help somebody like that, they're like, what, I'm building an average model, and this guy's asking me questions. How's that work? Because every modeler is different. Not everybody knows everything. I see things on models on YouTube all the time. People do stuff, and it's like, man, I can't believe I never saw. All the years I've been modeling since I was 8 years old. I'm 63. And I see stuff, and I'm like, I can't believe I never heard of that before. I can't believe I never saw that. And I've been around modelers all my life. I've been in model clubs a lot of times. I don't now, because I have some circumstances that kind of prevent me from doing it. Some family obligations. But other than that, when I was younger, I went to anything model. You have a model meeting? I'll be there. Model show? I'll be there if I can get there. If I can bum a ride. But seriously, if you got to go to an event, try to find one or two other people that can go, somebody that's got a more or less a brand new car that probably won't break down, and go. Hit the road. That's the way I do it. I'm not too proud to say that. All right, I've gone on long enough. I hope this helps you. I hope this gets you in the mindset and gets you thinking positive, that if there is a show in your area, big or small, whatever it is, and you can get to it, check it out. Just take a model. If you want, you can put a fake name on it. Only your friends will know that. But honestly, you can just do it and see what happens. Because I see a lot of people that say, this is a bad build, this is a fair build, this is an okay build, and they're way better builds than mine. And I'm not afraid to take my stuff to a show, and you shouldn't be afraid to do that either. So I'll leave you with that. You think about it for a while, and talk it over with some of your modeling buddies, and see if the next show that comes around, you can get enough guys in a car and split the gas and stuff like that. I've done that too before. Everybody helps pay for the gas and everything. Whatever you got to do to get there. And I hope it helps you. I hope it inspires you. And I hope it helps you don't doubt yourself. If you're on YouTube and you're showing, if you've gone to the trouble of making videos, you invested into your hobby. You've invested in your time and your talent and what you're trying to do. And obviously you want to share it because you're on YouTube. And we all want to share. What we do, it's just like YouTube, only it's actual live, action. You're at a model show. You can talk to people one-on-one. Hopefully you're a people person, but even if you're not a people person, you will be comfortable around, 100 other modelers talking the same stuff you're talking. You're like, my wife doesn't understand models. My kids don't understand models. I don't have any relatives that are modelers. I live too far away from my friends at work don't know what modelers are. They don't understand my hobby. You need to get yourself to a hobby show. And then you'll be like, everybody here understands what I'm talking about. All right, y'all. Y'all be careful. You take care. And we'll catch you on the next one.